right, it's Thursday, August 22nd. Just wanted to do a bit of a morning recap here. I actually bought some puts on Tesla that I just took a scaled out and set up an overage trade. I bought some puts, the 230 puts at 895, and I just scaled out at 11 to set up an overage trade, like 2 points higher. And obviously you can see this stock started down on the day below the pre-market lows and has continued lower on the first push down. I also described on other videos how I bought puts on Snow this morning and also scaled out of those to set up an overage trade, or you could have just taken overall base hit gains. Both have followed through lower. But I wanted to do is kind of show I kind of follow a whole bunch of stocks at one time, and the question is always, how do I choose the ones that I decide to trade for the day? So if you look here just at this board, I could see the indexes, they gapped up from the previous day, but they all kind of started lower. This is the QQQs and the SPY. So I knew there was a bit of a negative bias in the market overall, but certain stocks, like Coinbase, they kind of went below their pre-market lows and held, and they're still above the midpoint of the prior day. And Netflix, for example, even went up, and it's kind of consolidating for a moment, so that's not breaking down, below the pre-market lows. But the two stocks I chose to trade, both out of the gates kind of went below the pre-market lows, below the lows of yesterday, and had negative biases. So with the indexes kind of showing me a little bit of a pullback today, I wanted to go with the weaker stock. Same thing with Tesla. That already kind of tested the high the previous day out of the gates, and then immediately went down to the midpoint of that day below the pre-market lows. And on this third bar, once it came down here, there was a high probability you're going to get an outside bar to the downside. So this one had negative, tone to it as well, whereas stock like Nvidia, in that first move of the day is still well above the midpoint of the prior day and well above the pre-market lows. So, even though that's come down a little bit, this one could hold in here and then eventually, maybe have a red to green move by the end of the day. You never know. Same thing with Meta. This one really hasn't broken down. So I just thought I'd do a little recap to show how, I kind of, the stocks that I follow or choose to follow, I want to, sell the weakest ones on a little bit of a downward opening and try to buy, the strongest ones on the upside as well. So we'll see what happens. But Tesla, is a good one for a 3 bar to the downside. That's why I chose that once it broke down on bar 3. And Snow is a big gap to the downside. I wanted to look for a weak stock and just kind of see how it unfolded. And I shot some videos why I decided to buy puts here on bar number 2 as it kind of works its way lower to some lower, targets down here at some point, even if it kind of decides to pause along the way. So just thought I'd do a little morning update, and again, kind of describe, if you look at all the videos I choose and the stocks I choose to trade, that's generally, the logic as I'm following all kinds of stocks, throughout the day, and just watching them and just choosing the ones that give me the price action that I'm looking for.